Hello, welcome to Together We Feel. I am so happy to have you here with me on another Come As You Are panel. It's a good fit for, I think, the world today to have a Come As You Are because it depends on where you live. A few states get away with this. Kudos to Arizona for canceling this ridiculousness years ago. But a lot of us had to spring forward over the weekend, which means we essentially lost an hour of sleep. For those of us that struggle with sleep, it's just like a punch in the gut. Like, seriously? You're taking an hour away when I struggle to get good hours anyway? So I'm blaming that for my subpar physical feeling this morning, but I did have the most extraordinary Friday night with my best girl, Brandy Carlisle. I'm a PNW girl, Pacific Northwest. She is too. I love her so much. I just wanted to cry. I did cry. I cried. She has a couple of songs on her new album that make me cry, and she sang them both. And so I cried. And I warned everybody around me, listen, I'm going to cry if these songs come on. I've never not gotten through them without crying. That's still true. But it was just glorious and really wonderful. Went with my husband and my sister-in-law and her wife and a bunch of their friends that we've done other concerts with in the past. It's just a wonderful group of humans. We had the most beautiful dinner. The Bay Area and the California coast really showed out this weekend. These are areas that can be really foggy a lot of the year. They were out. It was like a Chamber of Commerce day along the coast. I mean, Santa Cruz, not a cloud in the sky. Our good friend Erin Copeland grew up there. I sent her a picture. I'm like, Erin, I'm in Santa Cruz. Look at that blue sky. It's just spectacular. And then we had to spring forward Saturday night and mess the whole thing up, but that's okay. It's fine. I'm fine. We're all fine. It's Monday morning. We're here. Thankful to be here with my veteran panelists, Erin Copeland and Tara Mae Temple. We've got all corners represented here. We've got the West Coast, we've got Florida, we've got Ontario. We're all over, but we all look like we have sunshine. I'm looking at all of our reflections and I'm like, wow, what a deal. We finally have a day where we all have sunshine. So welcome on this Monday morning. I've kind of let you know where I'm at this morning. I've canceled some things. I'm like, I am not well enough to be with you in person today, but I will do this panel at 8:30 because it's, it's a come as you are. So I can be how I am. Tara, how are you doing today? I know the weather is finally improving for you in beautiful Canada, Ontario anyway.
Sorry, I was muted. Hello. I'm doing great. The sun is shining here in Canada after a long winter of hibernation. I feel like everybody is ready to just get out and get some fresh air and, go for a walk with the dog or do some exercise outside. I've seen more people doing their jogging outside, and it's so amazing to see, because if you love people watching and you just look out the window while sipping on your tea or coffee in the morning, it's just nice to see people come alive again in the spring. So I'm looking forward to seeing the flowers bloom and just hearing the birds kind of chirp outside the window in the morning. That is refreshing in and of itself, just to hear that. I find that so peaceful. So if you have a chance to just sit on your porch or just open a window in the morning and just take that all in, that's, your couple moments of peace there. Even though we live very chaotic and busy lives nowadays, you do have the choice to just sit down and take in what, sounds of nature that can really help ground you. So I know that's definitely a ritual of mine every morning. So that's where I am, despite how busy things are with the book marketing and the book now, and me balancing my editing work. I'm just trying my best to enjoy these moments, because sometimes they can be very fleeting, and every book launch is different for everybody. This is my first debut book, Life Hacks for Healing and Harmony, and I'm finding new connections along the way where I'm joining events and book fairs and just meeting local people. And when I meet these people, I try to see life from their eyes and their perspective. And I think about, okay, but I always just try to picture how can my book and messages in my book help them find more joy and harmony. So I'm a very, I feel people's energy, and if I feel that they're suffering or sad in any way, I feel that I'm very, I feel for them, and want to see if I could be of service through my writing. So I'm looking forward to seeing how many more lives I do touch and getting more on what people are learning through my writing. And that's going to help inform future books that I write. And with yesterday being International Women's Day, celebrate all women, especially both you and Erin here today. You've been, you're such a source of inspiration for other women. I encourage everybody to, whatever you do learn in your life, share that with other women in your life, because that can teach them and help them overcome their challenges as well. We mustn't keep our learnings to ourselves. And we need to just voice everything that we do learn, because that could be the silver lining for some other women across the world. So that's just my little bit for today.
I just wrote that down. We mustn't keep our learnings to ourselves. I think that is, we're going to use that when we share this with people. I think that's beautiful and really reflective of who you are and how you operate, Tara, because you have that spirit about you. I love what you said about those simple things. When you get up in the morning, spring is coming in the Northern Hemisphere. Southern Hemisphere, you're coming out of summer here soon and going into fall, but open your window, let the air in, listen to the birds. There's something very soothing and settling about that before you kick off your day. That is a simple act of care for yourself. When I work with women, they talk, oh gosh, I don't know what to do. I don't have time. Those simple little things really make a difference. 5 to 15 minutes of just letting air I think when you live in winter, cities and places, which I have most of my life until the last few years, it is like hibernation. Like people are coming out. All of a sudden you see people have come out of the cave and waking up and feel alive. And all of a sudden they're reconnecting back with themselves, the neighbors, nature, be just the joy there is in being able to be outside and be a part of it. We noticed that on Saturday. It was pretty busy along this stretch of Highway 1 because it was like the fog lifted, the sun was out. This stretch of highway had been closed for so long, and people grabbed the opportunity. The state parks were full as you're driving along of people just outside with their families, with their dogs, walking, just taking it all in. And what that does for your soul, like it's just so settling. But those little things, it doesn't have to be like, oh, we're going to take a day trip along the coast. It can be that simple act of opening your window and listening to the sounds outside. We're in blossom season here in Fresno, and it starts in mid-February and kind of goes to mid-April. We're different. We are the fruit and nut capital of the world, literally here. We feed like 25% of the world from the food that comes out of the Central Valley where I live. And we have and it hasn't happened yet, but we have about a 2-week time frame within that 2-month period where the orange blossoms smell. They don't smell like oranges. I don't know how to describe it. It's literally one of the most divine smells. If you ever get to smell an orange during blossom season, and you can open your windows, I can walk outside because we have neighbors that have orange trees in their yard. So you walk outside and I'll sit out there and work. I will sit out there and if I'm recording, I need to be inside a lot. I'll go outside in between and just breathe it in. It's just fantastic. And you can take these. So whatever it is in your area that can draw you out and and just give you that kind of moment to settle. Don't miss those things that are right there in your own home, in your backyard, with those simple acts. Thank you for reminding us, Tara. And I'm curious too, but we'll let Erin talk first, because you're such an empath, this season you're in of being out and sharing your book, but also you having to be mindful of your energy as you do this, because you do take on other people's emotions within that. So we'll get back to this question, but kind of put it, I'd love to hear if you've noticed there's additional things you have to do for yourself to prepare, knowing that it's the yin and yang of the whole thing. It's the absolute, blessing of being able to going out and sharing your work and be able to touch other people's lives. And also know within that, there can be a lot of emotions involved that, there's an emotional energy and cost, that comes with that. So I'm going to put a pin in that question. We're going to come back around to that.
Sure.
To hear what you do for that. Erin, my friend, how are you?
Good morning, ladies. I'm excellent. It's a beautiful day here in South Florida, and to jump on the nature bandwagon, I have an orchid plant that I put outside. Now, orchids don't love me. Okay. I struggle with orchids. And for my 50th birthday, so I'm 51 now, so a year ago, someone gave me like 8 orchid plants, and there's 2 that are still alive. And one I kept inside, and I took it out of all of that potting mix that it comes in, because I've heard somewhere that you should do that. And I just put it in bark, and that is blooming. And I was very excited. The other one I put outside, and I was actually at a garden several months ago, and they had tons of orchids, and they were all outside in little wood boxes with no soil, no nothing, just growing out there. And the person who tended to them said, these are actually an air plant. And I was like, what? No wonder all of my orchids die. And so I bought one of the boxes, I put it outside, and there are 8 blooms. There are 8 buds on my orchid. I thought it was a goner. I've been watching that thing. I'm like, sorry, baby, you're not going to make it. Like, I tried. And I went out there this morning, and there are 8 blooms. I cannot wait for them to their buds to actually bloom. So that's like, so far, the highlight of my whole day is that the orchid plant has buds. I'm so excited.
I love orchids. They're one of my favorite flowers. And whenever I get something happens, there's a celebration or whatever, Brady gets me an orchid. And it's always I can always keep it alive for about 2 months, and then inevitably, but so I'm going to have to remember that the next time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, Tara, I just loved the things that you talk about. You took me on a whole emotional journey in your introduction, because you took me back to my book launch, and I would love to talk to you about how you're doing yours, because I can tell it's different from how I did mine. And I'm actually in the process of working through possibly relaunching my book and putting out a 10-year anniversary, because it's my husband's 10-year transplant anniversary this summer. And my book is based on his liver transplant. And so, but there's things that I want to do that I didn't do the first time. And so I'm like, so that was super interesting. And I also loved how you said, in meeting people and talking to people, you're learning how you can be of service through your writing. Yeah. And so it was very specific to the thing that you love. It wasn't just a blanket be of service and like however they need it or however they want it or whatever they demand or all of the things, because I do that sometimes, like, oh, I have to be on the socials, so I have to do it this way, I have to do it that way. But my gift is through my writing. Yes. And so I was like, yeah. And I recently, things all come in threes too. And I have been putting out a series in my newsletter about anger. And I put out last week the top 10 things that piss me off. Like, if you want to fight me, talk about these 10 things because you're going to make me mad and we can fight.
Yeah.
But I talk about the things.
Love it.
Oh my gosh.
And in there, it was also very risky for me because I used the F-bomb kind of a lot.
Me too.
But when I wrote it, that's how I wrote it. That's how it came out. And I was like, okay, do I want to edit myself? Do I want to do this? And I said, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna see what happens. And my whole email list might delete me. Like, I thought everyone was gonna cancel me. Yeah. And not only did nobody cancel me, I think because it was just me and it was authentic, and they were appropriately used. I have to tell you, if you read it, because there was a guy that made me mad because he was standing on a freeway exit, begging with a kitten.
Oof.
He had a live kitten, and I wanted to hit him with my car.
Yeah, and take the kitten home and take care of her.
And take the kitten, yes.
Or him, whoever it's him
And
with.
I used colorful language to describe that individual. So I got so many responses, but in ways like, thank you for talking about this. This was like, wow, like this was so powerful. And thank you for being so vulnerable and talking about this. And I was like, but people don't talk about these things? And I had someone say to me, no, Erin, they don't. And that is your magic, because you can use your words and your writing and talk about things that people usually stay away from. And so, Tara, you absolutely reinforce that message too. Like, oh, I can give service through my writing.
Yeah.
Thank you
because,
for that.
Yeah.
I love that you mentioned, Erin, because I think people have a hard time articulating the things that they're going through and the things that frustrate them and anger them on a day-to-day basis. And some people think that if they bring that out, that brings so much shame. But imagine how powerful that is, you writing about the anger, and how many people resonate with that, because, you know, it's a great outlet to express yourself and to shine light on what people struggle with, right? So I think that's very empowering to just have that out there, and people can see themselves in what you're writing.
Yeah. It's like a permission slip, I think. I think it's that permission slip. And I told Erin last week when she released the first of her ones, I'm like, this is magic. Like, I was like, oh my God, this is my favorite thing you've done. Like, it just, because it's so connectable. And I think what came to mind when I was listening to you guys talk about this is that's what the podcast is for me. It's like, okay, we're going to say vagina on here. We're going to talk about periods. We're going to talk about sex. We're going to talk about sensuality. We're going to talk about all the menopause, all the things you've been told not to talk about. We're going to talk about on here, because it's not talking about it that got me to where I am, and so many other women to where they are, stuffing the things, trying to be nice, trying to be good, and quotes around all the nice and good and all the BS that we're fed that we're supposed to be, and what's not appropriate, and not expressing what's not appropriate or uncomfortable for other people is taking us out. And it's doing bodily damage to us and the people in our circles in multiple ways, not only us ourselves, but how it impacts the people around us. And we have to stop that. And we have to start feeling free and safe to process and move through and speak out what it is. I'm getting so excited, I'm going to cough. Excuse me. That's what happens in a live. You just get to hear all my sounds. Because it's that. And I think that's why when I read it, I was like, this is beautiful, because it's exactly that. It's saying what everybody wants to say, wishes they could say. It's like, oh, I can say that. Oh. And there's a whole litany of research out there that just got released over the last few months about people that swear and how healthy it actually is for you. And listen, I have people in my life on multiple fronts that use the F word to the point that makes me uncomfortable. And it takes a lot to make me uncomfortable. But there is sometimes an appropriate usage, and there's a way to adverb and adjective that in, that it's like, no, that is exactly where it is today. It is that. It is. And, so, I mean, I think that, but a power in just speaking, like that thing that you thought that, like, I wonder what happens if I say this out loud. And then you say it out loud and you find out a bunch of other people have been like, oh, me too. So yeah, I think there's a freedom, and that's part of the conversation I talk about in supporting ourselves and other women unapologetically. It's being willing to say those things. And I love, this is where your authenticity really comes through, Erin, because you're like, listen, everybody might drop me, but this is what I know I need to say. And not only did they not drop you, they gathered around you and affirmed you because you trusted yourself and you trusted the instinct to show up as your full self and the beauty in what was revealed in that. I just want to celebrate that. And Tara bringing that to life with us, because I think that is just such an important part about all of our work, all of what we do. Each one of us is born out of that need to say the things that we were afraid to say, and that bottled us up and got us kind of in trouble in the first place, and where we had to break out of where we were to be where we are today. And there is a vulnerability, and there is, like, I don't want to put like rainbows and sunshine around the whole thing. When you do that, sometimes there are people along the way that aren't ready for that. They don't know what to do with that. They don't know what to do. And that is their journey to figure out. And it's a reflection on them. And so many times we as women worry so much about how everybody else around us is going to react, that we sacrifice ourselves and we abandon ourselves, and it doesn't serve us. And the three of us have figured that out and are navigating what it looks like. But I can confidently tell you that for all three of us, we are much healthier for taking that authentic route and trusting ourselves than we were before we did. I think we could all say that wholeheartedly. Yeah. Okay. Erin, do you have it? Yeah. Yeah, I think that's so true. Okay, so Tara, back to you and my question that we put a pin in. Talk to me about what it's been like to be out there with the book and interacting with people. And I love the book fair idea. I think that that's something we're going to do round 2 of our book at some point in the next year or two, where we're going to add in more content. Jessica, Garrison, who's my writer of all things that we do here at Embracing Layers Network, and she and I created the book together. But she did the legwork of being the author. I was the content editor, so to speak. But she really did the legwork, and the way even she goes back and looks at it now, and she's like, I would rewrite the first one differently, just based on what I've learned about myself and my writing. I go back and read it now. I'm like, oh, I should have said that. And I'm like, that's part of the writing process. And that's why I wanted this to be your first book and give you that opportunity to feel that. But we're getting ready. We've got a lot more content to add in. So we'll do another release probably, if not 2027, 2028. And I've already kind of noted things that we would do differently. And that book fair idea, like Erin was listening to you, I think we're going to be more on the ground rather than we were so focused, like Erin talked about, on the socials and global things and getting it on the right places for people to get it globally. And Jessica did go to a couple of local fairs and local things and she was able to sell books. And I think she and I in round 2 are going to both be more just getting in contact with the people, because you can talk to the people about it and share with it in a way that you can't do from the screen. And also, though, I want to hear about how you care for yourself after a day at a book fair where you've taken on all of this emotion of what's happening around you.
Yeah, of course. I'm glad you brought that up, Melissa. It makes it more real when you go out into the local community and you're interacting and pitching, your book baby to these people. And what I'm finding what resonates when I'm doing my pitching is I'm not making it all about, oh, poor me, the stories I went through. I'm bringing it back to the people and saying, my whole mission is to help people achieve inner peace and more joy in their lives. And what we deal with is, we have universal commonalities in terms of what struggles we deal with, whether that be loss, um, illness, anxiety, mental health issues, self-image struggles, familial relationships, as well as dealing with our egos and our dark side, and striving for validation in certain ways. So I'm letting people know that, these are all common things that we deal with. And I purposely wrote about my stories of how I struggled with those common issues. But basically, I bring it back to them and show them how they can overcome their struggles too. Is able to do it, they can do it as well. And it's basically there as a guide, and it's a guide that I wish I had 10 years ago to help me through all of the various hardships I went through. So this is a book for people of all ages, but as I was interacting with people, I was just seeing the humanity of, what we all deal with, feeling me told that there was a woman who had just overcome her own cancer journey and had sons that were autistic and were struggling day-to-day lives. So she wanted something that would help them. And so I just hearing people like that, and hearing like a young lady who was a caregiver for a sick mother as well. It brought so much, you know, meaning and perspective to the reason why I wrote this book, was to make a difference in people's lives. And just seeing people deal with their everyday stuff, it just felt so grounding and put me back in alignment with what my values and my purpose is on here on earth, to make a contribution to others who may not see any silver linings or hope of overcoming their challenges. So that was grounding in and of itself. I thought, it's not, I'm not a New York Times bestseller, and I'm not out there doing a book tour, but if I could make a difference on a local level, I'll start there. And what happens is, word of mouth happens, where they tell their friends about it and family about it, and they give the book as a gift to a friend or something. So I heard people say that they were going to gift it to somebody. So I love that. Yeah, just meeting all people from all walks of life and different various ages was fantastic. I'm a very shy person by nature and introverted. So being out in public in large crowds of people coming to you, and having to kind of just put away that shy introverted side of me. I just came out of my shell and was authentic in everything I said. And I showed them, my vulnerability and, the things that I went through, not really caring about, oh, how would I be perceived? This is more, how could I help and make a difference in their lives by sharing what I do and what I write to help them. So I kind of tucked away that whole, introverted side of me, thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to be so drained after that. But instead of that, I felt so joyful, and like I felt a lot of energy by speaking to these people. And no matter, like, I suffered from social anxiety for a long time. I think this was my reclaiming of my true self of, went through that stuff, but this is cathartic to be able to share myself this way with others. So yeah, it was a long day. I think I was there about 6 hours at the book fair. But I didn't notice that my energy was very drained by the end of the night. I slept night, and yeah, it was draining to like energy wise by the end of the day, but while I was there it was just so uplifting to my joy and my peace. So
I love that when we talked about how cathartic it was for you and how you got to redefine how you entered back into the world. Like, social anxiety is not with me here because I feel so, not that it's not with you, but it is not going to keep you from showing up in this personal way. And I think I love what you said about, we get so caught up when we're writing these books, and especially if you're working with a publisher or even an editor or, or book designer that's like, you got to get it loaded on here so people can find it and and if you make bestseller, and we get so caught up in yeah, okay, especially if you haven't done it before, and we lose sight of all of us have created our work to touch people and connect with people. And there's a real power in connecting in person with people with your work. I remember when I wrote my online course last spring, when I wrote the first draft of it, and you all are familiar with this, you've heard me talk about it a lot, part of, reading and editing it with me. And I said, it's like, I think this is the best thing I've ever done in terms of writing and putting into words my experience. And Erin's like, what are you doing? You challenged me on, what are you doing to celebrate that? And I'm like, oh, you're right. Like, I was like, celebrate what? I haven't sold any online courses yet. Celebrate the fact that it's creative, that you have this full feeling inside, that it's the best thing you've ever created to offer to the world, to walk through it, having this resource, because we all firmly wish that we would have had the resources that we offer now. We created because we wished we would have had something like that for ourselves. And so this is our way of taking that and doing exactly what Tara talked about earlier and putting it out in the world and offering it up and letting people know there's a way to navigate all of this with joy, with contentment, with a permission slip to feel the way we feel, to express what we're feeling, to move through it, to move forward, that we can still find the joy within it. And so thank you for such a powerful reminder. And I was so thankful when Erin challenged me with that. I was like, oh, you're right. And it was about the same time span in the spring where my therapist had said, you create these things and you reach these milestones and then you just move forward. She's like, I want you to challenge you to stop in the moment and celebrate that thing. Like, think about, would you have ever imagined this is something you would have put out in the world or had the capacity to create 5, 10, 15, 1 year ago? And the answer was, I didn't know in 2024 that in 2025, I was going to create this thing. So yeah, there's that reminder of that ability to connect with people, because I do find that when I'm speaking in person to people and I'm able to share and they're able to feel my energy and feel my passion and connect with that then draws in like a curiosity about, oh, wow, I want to feel that kind of energy. I want to feel that kind of passion about how I show up in the world. And there is such power in that.
Yes. And I find that's very contagious when other people could see your passion for what you do. There is a ripple effect with that. So I think that's so important. And why not celebrate more of our wins? Because, it goes by so quickly. Why don't we enjoy what we created now? Right. So I love that.
Yeah. And having people around you like I do, I'm so fortunate to have all of you around me that will say, well, what about this? And we say it to each other. Like Erin and I go back and forth all the time. What do you think about that? What do you think about that? And really bounce things off of each other a lot. And having those people that will give you, they understand what you're doing, and they're also just enough a step back from it where they can offer an insight that maybe you missed, because sometimes when we're so close to it, we can't see it ourselves. And I mean, every time, Tara, I learn something new from you every time I'm with you. Like every single time I'm with you, I learn something new. So also surround yourself, listeners out there, with people that bring that out in you and that you bring that out in them. It's so important to have ourselves surrounded by and connected with those women that are here to walk the walk and see the things and speak the truth, but show up for each other in that way, and remind us of the presence, of the power of what we have to say, of the importance of connection, and not apologizing for it, and trusting our instincts. I mean, we've hit on so many important things today that for us to remember as we're walking life out. And a lot of it has to do with us, unpacking those things we've been told. If your inner self is telling you to do something, trust that. Follow that lead. See where it's going to take you. See what road where it's going to take you down, and what might come out of it. And don't let the outer voices distract you. What's so-and-so going to say, or what's so-and-so going to think. And trust that your instincts are telling you that for a reason, and that the people that are for you and that want to see you thrive are going to celebrate that with you. And if some people surprise you and they don't, then that is, that probably has more to do with them than it does you. So I think that's such an important piece to remember. Erin, are you still there? I think we might have lost Erin's connection.
I think I'm still here. Something went a little goofy, so I can't tell if you guys can hear me and see me.
I can hear you, but I can't see you. So we're going to let you speak because I can hear you. I love technology. So fun going live. You never know what's going to happen. Anything else before we wrap up today? Anything else come up for you that as Tara and I were going back and forth?
So my connection still is a little bit goofy, but I'm just going to pop in here with my final thought.
Okay.
And I think one of the things that really resonated with me today is that we all have a special way of sharing our message. And all of our messages are different, and we all share them in different ways. And so even if they don't resonate with somebody, because we aren't going to resonate with everybody, it's still a path for people to find then the people they do resonate with, because we're always choosing, we're always getting information, we're always filtering. And so when everybody is sharing their message, it gives even more people the opportunity to pick and choose and say, you know what, that I kind of get that, but that's not right for me.
Yeah. Yeah, you went quiet again, but that was a great way for you to wrap up on that. So
it's out there, whether it is through a podcast, a TikTok, you're
writing,
she whatever it is. Take the leap, take the baby step, and share your voice, because one way or another, it's going to help somebody.
Yeah. And I think that's our whole goal. It's like, whether it's one person or 1,000 people or, whatever, it's that simple, but that sharing piece. And I'm so glad that you brought that up, Tara, that you never know who else is going to, I mean, we've literally been on panels with people who have heard about our work and they're like, ooh, I've got somebody. I mean, we've literally had that happen on a panel with Erin a couple of months ago, where we had a panelist on here whose mom was really struggling with caregiving for her dad. And she's like, ooh, I'm going to send my mom your work. I mean, you just never know where it's going to come up. It can even come up on these panels. So yes. So for Erin's information, go to erincopeland.com, erincopelan.com. It'll be in the show notes. Tara, any last thoughts, and then share where people can find you?
Yes, my last thoughts are, with things going on in the world, politically and with the conflict and chaos right now. Everyone owes it to themselves to have a little bit of joy and hope in life. So, despite what's happening externally, I want you to know that if you look within, you will find that harmony and joy. And you need to prioritize and protect your peace, because otherwise, your life is just going to fly by you. So learn to be present and enjoy those present moments, and find people and resources out there that can really help you in your day-to-day lives. And just know that you don't need to overwhelm yourself with different tactics and strategies of trying to center yourself. Pick one or two things and start slow. Like, you'll get there on your healing journey. Healing isn't linear, but you owe it to yourself to have a little bit of healing, a little bit of peace, and ultimately, liberation and joy and feeling that peace. So those are my parting words. And you can reach me, find out more about my work on tarasweetawakening.com. And my book is now out on all Amazon marketplaces. It's called Life Hacks for Healing and Harmony.
So good. So good. I've ordered my copy. It's in the mail. I can't wait to get my hands on it. I'm so excited. I just know there's going to be stuff to learn and garner. And there's always opportunities to add to your tool belt for those different seasons you go through too. So thank you so much. I think my parting words for me is I want to bounce off what Tara said about there's a lot going on in the world. It's so important that we prioritize our wellness and make space for us to have joy, have contentment. That is a resource to fill our souls so we can keep doing the work we're doing, so we can keep showing up every day with a fully overflowing cup. We can give from the overflow and not give from, just an empty cup that leaves us not fully present, not fully connected. And we want to, it's so important that we're able to stay in that realm. So thank you so much for that. For me, go to embracinglayers.com. There's multiple ways that our resources can support you, whether it's our podcast, the Feel podcast, whether it's this panel show, Together We Feel, that we release weekly here on our YouTube channel, whether it's our book, Embracing Layers Unapologetically, my 3 online courses. There's 3 different versions of the online course. Embracing a Feel-Fueled Life. I have one-on-one empowerment sessions where we can work through the Feel framework together, or I can come speak to you and your group. There's multiple ways. Just let us know. Go to embracinglayers.com, go to that contact form and let me know how I can support you. That's what we're here for. All of us are here to offer resources to help in you live the healthiest, most authentic, feel-fueled life that you can. Thanks to my wonderful panelists for joining me today. Take good care of yourselves this week. Get some sleep. I know spring forward messes it up. Prioritize your sleep this week so you can get back on track with that. Take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time here on Together We Feel.